Sweet home, Santa Barbara, where the skies are so blue. Sweet home, Santa Barbara, what's worked for me can work for you.
Well, welcome back, Sweet Home Santa Barbarans, to Sweet Home Santa Barbara. I'm your co-host, Jonathan Robinson. I'm with my friend and real estate broker and co-host,
Scott Williams.
And I'm particularly interested in this episode, Scott. We have Nick Van Valkenberg. Hopefully I said that right, Nick.
Got it.
And just a little bit about Nick, who's a specialist on AI. Nick's a father of a spirited 2-year-old and a seasoned prop tech expert with over a decade of experience in the real estate industry. And Nick's focus is on artificial intelligence, specifically within real estate. And he aims to revolutionize the industry by empowering professionals and clients alike. And we welcome you, Nick, to Sweet Home Santa Barbara.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thanks for having me on the show. And yeah, I do hope to revolutionize the experience. We'll see how that goes.
Yeah. Well, how long have you been into AI and real estate? Because for most of us, AI is kind of snuck up on us about a year ago. But how long have you been into this field?
I'm about shy of 2 years in the AI space, and then well over a decade in just the property technology space. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I kind of, I don't know if it was dumb luck. I kind of snuck in here in the AI space, about 8 months or so before ChatGPT came out, when all of a sudden AI became the forefront. And, you can't be in a conversation or a podcast and not hear about AI, right? So I've been learning heaps about it. I've been using a lot of it. I've gone on, I wouldn't say I've gone on tour, but I've been to a few places and presented to real estate brokers and agents. Because everybody's super curious. There's so much information out there, and AI we're like in this hockey stick, and it's just taking off. And if you're not paying attention, it's hard to keep caught up. And so folks like myself in the industry are just trying to help, separate the noise from opportunity, if you will.
Yeah, I'm not even sure where to begin. There's so much to talk about. So for people who don't know about how AI is going to affect real estate, what would be your 2-minute speech to them? Because they probably need to be woken up. Yeah.
So AI is already affecting real estate, and it's affecting every industry, and it has been for a long time. As ChatGPT came along, everybody got really hypersensitive about it and paying attention. But if you back up a little bit, think about Netflix, for example. Netflix came on the scene. They obviously stole all, if not most, of the business from Blockbuster, but just putting things digital. But the digital wasn't that great, because as I was, looking for shows to watch, by the time I found something I wanted to see, either my food was cold or it was time to go to bed, or, it took hours to do that. And then they started implementing some AI, and they started profiling us, which sounds a little strange, but they're profiling us in a way that they see what we're clicking on, what we're watching, how we're rating, and what's happening. And inside that profile, they start giving us kind of the answers to what we want to watch. And Amazon's done this for years as well. Whether you're paying attention or not, those "you should also buy this," or the emails that you get about things you should buy, are not just based off of what everybody else is doing. It's based off of what you're doing and what you're looking at and what you're clicking on. So fast forward now into real estate, this is what's happening as you're searching for homes. If you think about the home search experience, it's pretty archaic, really. I would go to most brokerage websites and I would put in my neighborhood. I would put in maybe some beds, some baths, some minor filters to get that map and that tile view of the homes for the area I'm interested in, which isn't a bad experience. But the problem is I come back and I need to recreate that experience, and I come back to recreate that experience, all before I'm working with or being represented by an agent. So what ends up happening is I just got this weird archaic movement of like, okay, what area was I looking at, and what was my filters last time? Because I'm looking for this one particular home. What AI can actually do is similar to Amazon, create that profile for you. So now when you come back, AI is going to help you find the homes that you're looking for based off of your preferences and what you've been doing. So really just helping you in that search for my home, so then I can get ready for representation.
Mm-hmm. Scott?
Well, that sounds like moving us out of 20 years ago and up to today. In the you're personalizing. I think that this is a way maybe to describe what this search experience, you're personalizing it. And I can see where that's going to become immediately desirable to people. Is AI intruding or bringing a personalization to other parts of the business?
It is. A lot of companies are just starting to dip their toes into AI. And so as they're starting to dip their toes, ChatGPT is kind of the overlay that a lot of folks are doing. In real estate in general, I think on the technology side and also on the brokerage side, we've been looking for this interconnectedness. How do I make all of my products and everything that I'm using work synonymously so I don't have to log in here and do this here? Like, how can I go to one spot? AI is creating that in other industries. I did a presentation for California Properties and I showed Copilot at Microsoft, which is an overlay on all of the Microsoft tools, which pulls them all together. I think in a near future, we're going to have something like that here in real estate for not only the agents and the brokers, but also for the consumers and the visitors that are looking for homes. Like, how do I have this one communications line across the whole buying or selling idea? We've always been trying to simplify it. A lot of companies have spent a tremendous amount of dollars to make this easier, or moving to DocuSign and e-signatures was a very powerful move, and it really took a pandemic for that to really take over. The way that AI is coming, it's going to revolutionize it the same way. The hopes is it just makes it an easier experience. Now, the thing that a lot of folks are getting nervous about is, well, is that going to take my job? And that's kind of what everybody's thinking about AI. Is AI going to take my job? My full belief in the real estate industry is it's still an extremely emotional and personal experience to purchase a home. Amazon uses AI to profile me, but if I want to buy a new cord for my iPhone or a new mouse, that's not a very emotional experience, right? I just can go purchase it. It comes, shows up in my house. It's not a problem at all. Yeah, sure. It's taken maybe some of the small and medium businesses, move them away from a brick and mortar network to more of an e-commerce feel. But I see real estate still doing the same thing. So the AI is really just helping and helping the agent kind of stay top of mind, helping the consumer find what they're looking for easier, kind of go through that process that they're going through.
I hear you say that it's going to make it easier, a little bit more efficient. Is there anything that AI can do in the coming 3-5 years that you go, oh, that's going to be a really big shift in how people buy and sell real estate?
Well, so there's a few companies that are launching like virtual reality headsets. I don't know if you've seen that. Meta has one. Apple's launching theirs. I was thinking about this as I was preparing for this podcast, and I was like, well, is that something I think is going to be in the future? I think it will be something you could use. Will it be revolutionary? A product like a Matterport or a virtual tour was revolutionary in its time, but you still want to go see that home, right? So I don't know that sitting in my living room looking through houses in my virtual binoculars are going to be any better than I want to go and actually feel the home. I want to walk through the living room. I want to smell the air in the backyard, if you will, or see how the sun hits at a certain time of the day, or what the traffic's like, things like that. Those are the feelings that you want when you purchase, right?
Yeah.
If you can filter out the lawnmower that's going on in your backyard, you can also filter out the freeway that goes right past this house. So you have to show up.
Might even be able to filter out the vacuum that's going on in the background while you're doing a podcast. So
yeah, sunlight, it makes a room alive and vital, and a place where you want to hang out, and you have to sort of show up to see the sunlight.
Yeah, it's an interesting relationship, AI and real estate. Because as I think about it, as a realtor, as an agent, as a broker, you're kind of choosing to use the products that provide that AI, that are going to give you that additional layer, that assistant, if you will. On the consumer side, you're not really choosing. It's just kind of part of the experience, right? So I don't know that the consumers are going to be opting in and opting out of, I'd rather not have my profile of the homes that I'm interested in, unless you click the full opt out, and now you get nothing. So it'll be an interesting experience as things start to, I would say gradual, but probably spike pretty hard here in the next couple of years, being that we are right here in that hockey stick curve with AI. I saw a graph the other day. There's some 2,500 AI companies came out this year, or might even be a bigger number than that. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah. Do you see any particular potential challenges or ethical concerns that show up as AI enters the real estate field?
Absolutely. A lot of us are paying attention to fair housing, the way that properties are being represented or recommended. Um, there's certain laws out there for privacy. So, a lot of the tech companies that are have good foundations have kind of followed along and are taking, ethical practices in this. But there are some issues. So when you look at, without getting into all the chat GPT, but like those large language models, as you put data into it, it becomes part of its data set. So you have to be careful what you put in there, right? If you just put all of your, I don't know, personal information in there, it is now part of the data that it will use to generate new outputs and outcomes for other people. So I would be a little leery at the moment of what I'm providing as far as information into something like a chat GPT or a Google Bard or Microsoft Bing. There's kind of a gray area today. When you are creating images through AI, they're not technically copywritten, and you're not, you can use that image, but like, can somebody else use that image? There's just a really gray area right now. And the fact that it's spiking so much and there's so much evolution in it on almost a weekly and monthly basis, it's hard to keep up. And I think the folks in the government are trying to figure it out at the moment right now. Like, how does this all play out?
Mm-hmm. It seems that there's a real blurring between like sort of the facts and the augmented facts that AI can give. I'm seeing inside the industry, well, make the sky prettier, get rid of the wires in the photographs. It's so easy to do. Just click here and the wires disappear.
Right.
Wow. What your comment?
Yeah, I mean, it can be very misleading. I mean, technically, using AI, I could have a property of a backyard and I could ask an AI engine to put a pool in the backyard, right? And that could be part of my property that I have in there, even though there is no pool. I know that's kind of a stretch because I don't know that anybody would do that, but you could do some small edits and changes and make the house look quite a bit different, almost like a dating profile sometimes, right? You just want to use your best piece and beautify it.
Mm-hmm. As AI gets better, I'm wondering if there will be discount AI brokers where you are able to not use a human being or hardly at all. I'm already doing that with, I need to hire a lawyer for a book I had written and a class I teach. And I hired a lawyer for $400 an hour. But a friend of mine said, well, you can ask ChatGPT what it thinks about this. And to tell you the truth, ChatGPT was much more effective than the $400 an hour lawyer and was free. So I'm wondering if you think that especially certain low-end real estate jobs can, in the foreseeable future, be taken over by AI.
Well, I won't go the lawyer route, but I mean, just that large language model in general does a couple of things. I mean, everybody's talking about hallucinations, and then I like to call it BSing with confidence. And so what you do is you ask it an answer, it gives you an answer, and it gives you what looks like an accurate answer, especially if you're not, super savvy on that topic. So you're going, okay, well, that looks good. I like that. But it's not always correct. Not that lawyers are always correct either, right? But in some cases, you're looking at the content, you're going, this is great. I can't believe it came up with this in a matter of 15 seconds. Copy, paste, and send. And then come to find out that it made up some rules, regulations, some things aren't in there. I mean, you can get yourself in a little bit of trouble. In the real estate side, not as big of an issue, but if I'm creating property descriptions using something like a chat GPT, it will do one of two things. It'll kind of hold on to a very strange word sometimes. I've seen it use the word haven over and over again, like a haven for your closet or for your clothes, or a haven for the outside for parties, just like a kind of a strange word. But also it will come up with dimensions in different parts of the property, saying it has 10-foot ceilings when it really has 8. Things like that will come about. And so if you don't know the facts and you see it, you're like, I mean, 10 sounds right to me. Send it out. And then Now you've got yourself an issue because you don't have 10-foot ceilings, and that's what somebody that's 8'1" looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the lawyer comes in.
Yeah.
You maybe an unpleasant experience you're
Fair
about
enough.
to have.
Yeah. So when I talk about leveraging one of those models, you always need to overlook everything. And if you don't know everything about that topic, you can be fooled a little bit. There was I wouldn't call it a study, but there was an article out there kind of stating, is ChatGPT getting dumber as more people put more and more information out of it? Mm-hmm. I can't confirm or deny, but there's a chance that people are putting unintelligent information in there that it is using to spit out for outputs. And so just be cautious with it for sure.
As kind of a consultant in this field, who are your clients and what are you doing for them?
So I work with real estate brokerages around the country. And so I help them leverage the AI for their website. Similar to that Netflix experience I was talking about, profiling. We do that on websites for brokerages, basically allowing them to connect with consumers as they come onto the site, because it's very difficult for a broker to connect with you before they know who you are, or even an agent, right? So we do that profiling. We have a recommendation engine to give you ideas of homes to look at based off of what you've given the bot for information about the property, or just how you've searched natively on the website. We can see where you're clicking and go, oh, okay, well, you like 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms, and you're looking for this in this area on a beach property. Okay, here's some other ones that fit that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's pretty clear that this is going to be part of our experience, whether we opt into it or not. Like, I don't opt into Amazon to say, show me more stuff. It just does, or Netflix. And I'm thinking that you'd said that we are going to end up with an opting in or a not, or we're just going to do this with customers. How's that going to go?
Well, so you can opt out even in Amazon. It's extremely buried into a bunch of settings, right? You've got to find the area. You've almost got to watch a YouTube video to find out how I can get it to not send me this email. I don't think in the real estate industry it's going to be that difficult. But I can talk about our situation. If you're chatting with our AI bot and you ask it to stop or do something like that, it will. And then you can ask it to remove photos from the listing or something like that after you purchase. Like, it'll do the stuff like that. It'll help you with that, or it will escalate this to somebody that actually can do the work. So I'm not going to say it does all the work for you, but there are ways to get the opt out. That's not going to be as difficult as that Amazon experience. I don't know if you've tried to reach out to Amazon's customer support, but it's almost impossible.
I don't find that a pleasant experience at all.
Is there anything else, Nick, that buyers or sellers should know in terms of AI in general, or AI in terms of real estate, that puts them on the upper edge?
Yeah, I may have a bias to this. Obviously, I'm in the AI space, but I think AI is here to help us for the most part. The folks that are working endlessly to help out the real estate industry are trying to provide some positiveness to it. And for the consumers, I just think about, if I'm buying a home, I really want some help buying that home. And maybe I'm just not quite ready to talk to an agent or a broker yet. Mm. And so how do I have a nice experience going through that? AI can give you that experience. Or if I'm an agent and there's tools out there that will, if you're having questions on a contract or where something's at or something about an image, you can actually ask the AI. It can help find it for you. So it's really just trying to speed up some of the things you would do. I know in my business, some of the things that I've got a pile of things I need to accomplish, right? And some of the busier work just tends to go to the bottom of that pile. I've been learning over the years to start leveraging AI to do some of that. Maybe I need to summarize a document or take some notes and do something with that. I can have the AI help me. I used it the other day, ChatGPT. I don't know if y'all use Excel or spreadsheets, but have you ever tried to create an equation on a spreadsheet? Like, sometimes it could take you hours to do that because you don't know where that parentheses should go, or does it do this or that? You can actually go on ChatGPT and you can say, hey, here's what I've got. Here's an example of the line. I need an equation in this column, and it will literally write the equation for you. I used that just the other day. So something that would take me an hour and a half now takes me 10 minutes. And then I can do the things that I find more pleasant in my day versus trying to figure out that equation in a spreadsheet.
It occurs to me that this is right in the flow of the internet, that buyers are looking for properties, but a great deal of my time is spent with sellers selling a piece of property.
Yeah.
How do you see the world of AI in the seller's world, or do you pay attention to that?
Yeah, there's a lot of tools out there that are helping sellers understand the equity they have in their home or what the market's doing to help them just kind of stay on top. And I know it's the agent's job, the broker's job to stay in touch, but I mean, we know across the nation that's not always the case. So what we've got our largest asset here, which is generally the home that we own. And there's tools out there that are showing you, I mean, some of them are almost live, what's going on in the market, what does your home valuation look like, or what's going on down the street, all that information, just helping us be more powerful in our decisions. And there's tools out there to help the brokerages with presentations and also understanding a little bit about the market, or if you're working with an out-of-town buyer to understand a different market, you could leverage AI to do that, to know what's it like in Boston right now, to understand what it's like moving to California if somebody's coming across the country.
Mm-hmm. Should be interesting how it develops when you talk about the hockey stick. For some of our listeners, they might not know that that's connected to exponential growth. Right. And maybe you haven't heard this, Nick, but a way to visualize exponential growth is, I say, if you were in the top place seat in a football stadium, a big football stadium, and somebody put one drop of water on the 50-yard line, and a minute later put 2 drops, and a minute later 4 drops, and a minute later 8 drops, how long would it take before the guy in the top bleacher was underwater? Now, you probably have a very good understanding of that. The average person says 17 weeks. The actual answer is 44 minutes. So in 44 minutes, there would be 1 million Olympic-sized swimming pools in that stadium. And at 30 minutes, the person might not know that there's any water on the field. And we're kind of in that place now where, oh yeah, there's AI, maybe it'll do something, I don't know, you can do a little bit with ChatGPT. 3 years from now, we might be inundated with 1 million Olympic-sized swimming pools of AI.
I love that analogy. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, most of us are just kind of dipping our toe. We'll use that water analogy that you have. We're just dipping our toe into AI, kind of understanding it. I think at one point we're going to need some sort of AI computer just to stay up on what's going on with AI. Like we're going to compound AI, right? So I don't know. I mean, the world's going to be interesting. I'm noticing myself, just advertisements that I'm seeing. A lot of content creators are now just using AI images instead of actually creating images. So it's, very interesting what's happening now and what that's going to look like this time next year even.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Very exciting. Any last things for you to say, Nick or Scott, to ask?
Well, I think your analogy of the drops in the stadium, we can tell at our down there on the field itself, we've got water up to our ankles. We can feel that, but there's a tsunami coming. I think is what it feels like.
So the rain jacket's not going to help, huh?
No.
Better to get a life preserver and begin swimming.
Prepare for change.
I think kind of final comments for myself. Just be open to that change. There's just a lot of change happening. I don't think it's all for the worst. I think there's a lot of really positive things that you're going to see come out of that. So just be open to it. Pay attention. Leverage folks like myself. If you're curious of information, there's a lot of resources out there to help kind of understand. Maybe I can share with you guys after this. We have a newsletter that we do every Thursday. It's for real estate agents and real estate brokers, just what's going on in AI and how does that help you in real estate. I've learned some very interesting things, even from my CEO. I got a new Apple iPhone and there's like an action button on it. And so when I click the action button, instead of Siri, well, it's all locked, but instead of Siri, now I have ChatGPT. So I hold this and now I can communicate with ChatGPT the same way I would with Siri.
Wow.
So just some fun stuff that you can do. How does that even fit into real estate? I'm happy to provide that resource to y'all.
You can provide it right here. It's okay if you want to tell us how to do that. Then our listeners can know that you can put it right here.
It's time. Real Estate Powered AI is the website.
Real Estate Powered
people.
AI. Okay.
How might people get in touch with you, Nick?
You can reach out to me. My email is nick@roof.ai. If I can help, you have any questions?
That's roof, ROOF.
Yes, sir.
AI.
Yes.
All right.
Sounds good. And the best way to get a hold of you, Scott?
I'm Scott at scottwilliams.com.
Well, that was very informative, Nick, and I appreciate the information and our listeners. So hopefully you'll join us next time at Sweet Home Santa Barbara.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for listening. Please subscribe to our podcast on your favorite app. If you know someone preparing to sell their home, please tell them about the podcast. Visit scottwilliams.com to contact me and download the 2 free e-booklets, Is My House Saleable Now? And How Not to Buy a Money Pit. Thank you for listening.